All right, so for example, here I have that same image in Final Cut Pro. And you can see if I set that to 100%, you can see this is the actual resolution of that image. So we've got a lot of resolution to work with here. If I add this to my sequence, this is a regular DV sequence. Now, Final Cut automatically resizes your image to fit the video frame, and this may or may not be desirable. In this case, it's not desirable because we want to scale in. So I'm going to double-click the clip. It's going to open back up into the viewer, go to my Motion tab. You see there, yeah, it scaled it down to 12.23%. I also want you to know it also often will adjust the aspect ratio. So in order to make that image fit the frame exactly, it distorted both the aspect ratio and the scale. So let's reset both of those, reset the scale, reset the distortion, and there it is now in its native size. If I zoom out, let's just set that all the way back to 12%. You can see there's my whole image, and you see I can scale around. I can manipulate the object here, and we can choose where we want. And this is a full resolution image of the video there. You can scale it here. Now, it's very important that you never scale this above 100%. Or, well, if you do scale it above 100%, you're going to start getting a little bit of distortion. You'll see pixelization, soft edges. You'll see that the image degrades. So you want to avoid going over 100% if you can. Keep that up to 100%, and then you can be sure that you're going to be looking at full resolution of that image, and you can see that's how much you can move around and you know, scale and zoom in on that image. By contrast, here's an HD sequence, and let's go ahead and put that same image into the HD sequence. Now again, by default, it's going to scale it to make it fit. So let's double click, go to the Motion tab, and we'll reset here. It's scaled it to 24%. We'll reset that and our distortion. Yeah, it didn't have to change it because the pixel aspect ratio of this HD sequence is normal, is square. So here now you're seeing this is the HD version, and we can't zoom in nearly as far. So at 100%, so again, here's our SD version. Let's put that in the same part of the image. So there's the SD version and the HD version. You see, you know, there's a lot more. We're zoomed much further in on the DV version because it's a lower resolution sequence. The HD resolution is a larger sequence. There's still plenty of room in this case to move around, and we can, you know, we can zoom out a little bit, and we still not see the edges of the frame. There's the edge of our frame there. So, you know, there's plenty of room to manipulate even in the HD sequence, and that's because this image was such high resolution. So if you want to know how far you're going to be able to zoom in your video image, you can do something in Photoshop, where here's my photograph in Photoshop. I'm just going to select the marquee tool, and I'm going to set the style from normal to fixed size. And then here I can set that to 720 by 480 if that's the resolution I'm working. And then when you click, you get a little box, and this is going to show you what the video frame is going to hold. And so the video frame will be able to hold that big of a pixel range. If you wanted to do HD, you could set this to, let's say, 1920 by 1080. And it's very important that you type in px for pixels. Otherwise, you see it defaulted right there to centimeters. So let's set that to px and px. So 1920 by 1080. And now when I click, you see it's a much bigger box. And this shows you what you can use if you're going to be using this still image in your video editor.